Now what we want to do is we want to add music to this entire thing. So this is our soundtrack. And the soundtrack to a movie is always done last. Always done last. And the main reason is because once you are done, when you're done editing, you're going to know the places where you dip the sound down, you bring the sound up, and all that kind of thing. That changes if you're still editing. If you're still throwing in various clips and all that kind of thing, then if you've already got your soundtrack in, you're gonna have to change all of the volumes for your soundtrack. You don't want to do that. Soundtracks are always done last. So when the editing is done, so you have to make sure that your editing looks good. So make sure that you back up and you take a look at the whole thing and make sure that it's nice and that you are fine with it. Okay, that doesn't mean that you can't change the soundtrack, but it's going to save you some time. So make sure you watch your movie right here and that you like it. Okay, good. Now we're going to throw in some music. Now, I have an audio track that's left over right here on the bottom that you can add. But if you don't have an extra audio track to put in the soundtrack, then it's pretty easy. You just hold down the control key, you click down here in the audio tracks, and you say add tracks. And then you say how many video tracks you want. In this case, I want 0. And I want to add 1 audio track. So there it is. I say okay, and there. Ta-da! I've added an audio track. If you want to delete the track, you control click on it and say delete the track, and it just disappears. Now, how are we going to get the sound? Or how are we going to get our music? Well, there's tons of ways that you can get music. Please don't use a YouTube downloader or anything like that, okay? It puts in viruses. So, I have a bunch of songs that are on my website. So if you go to BCHS Sound Files right here, see, here we are in this. You go to BCHS Sound Files. And if you're part of Pembina Hills, then you can go to Music. Right here, that takes you there, okay? And I've got all sorts of songs. If you want a different song, then you can talk to me, and I'll look to see whether or not it's appropriate. Okay, so how about we grab Back in Black? I'm going to control click on it and say download, and it downloads in the bottom right corner or left corner. Now, let's talk about legal stuff. Well, is this legal? No, it's not. Okay, can we use it? Well, yes, sort of. You can use it for educational purposes, but you cannot then turn around and show it to people. Especially, you can't show it for money, because I have not paid AC/DC to use Back in Black. I would need to get permission from them. I would need to purchase it for that purpose. Sure, YouTube lets you do that. If you post it on YouTube, sometimes it says, hey, this belongs to somebody else. Do you want to buy it? Other times they say, no, you can't. You can't use that at all. Anyway, when I download, I should show this. When it's Back in Black is downloaded, I click on this little guy. It's called a caret. You say, show in Finder. Then it shows you in the downloads folder. I'm going to make a new window, Command N, and I'm going to go to my Google Drive, ComTech, Video 1-3, and my media folder. See my cell phone ring, my crowd sounds? I'm going to add Back in Black to it right there. Okay, awesome. Now I'm going to go back to Premiere Pro. Now I need to get my music into my project, and I'm going to go File, Import, and go to my Media folder, and there it is, Back in Black. I'm going to double click on it, and it imports in the file. Awesome. If I double click on it down here, shows here. Excellent. Okay. And I'm going to back up. And I'm going to have my endpoint right there. Perfect. Okay, so I don't know how long I'm going to need the soundtrack. What I'm going to do, though, is I am just going to drag it down here. I'm going to put it right at the very beginning. Right at the beginning. So I actually see darkness at the beginning, right? Because remember, my opening credits fade in, and so this is what I have. I got to admit, it's a little loud, even though I shouldn't be saying that about AC/DC, right? But yeah, it is a little loud. So I'm actually going to expand this a bit. And what I want to do is I want to click and drag it down. You may have noticed I accidentally dragged it up. So that way I can see this white line. I'm going to make sure that I'm in the move tool, the selection tool right here, which is the letter V. And I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to pull it down to about -4, about that. Okay, put it at the beginning, which is the home key, by the way. All right.
This thing is unbelievable. I want you to...
Now, I should really dip the music down so it's barely noticeable right as he talks. So, I'm going to pull this down a bit. I'm actually going to give myself a little bit more space so I can see the editing a bit more, because I can actually see in the waveform where he's talking. So, right there. So, now I put my playhead there. I'm going to hit P for the pen tool. That's this guy right here. And just a little bit ahead, I'm going to click. And then a little bit after, I'm going to click. So now I've got 2. I'm going to zoom in to show you what I've got. See how I've got 2 keyframes on either side? And I'm just going to drag the volume down so it's just barely noticeable. I've got -35. I'm going to have a listen.
The itching is unbelievable. I went to the...
Now, you know what? I can't hear the music at all. I want to hear it a touch. Just a touch. It's still a party, and it's in the background. -18.
Doctor to see if there's contagious. He said, oh, I better take this call. We can...
All right. You know what? I went too far. I'm going to bring it down a notch. There. Let's have a listen.
The itching is unbelievable. I went to the doctor to see if there's contagious.
Good. So it's barely noticeable, but it's still there. Excellent. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom out so I can see the whole movie. And I am going to... oh boy, see how Back in Black continues on right here? Well, I'm going to bring it up at the end. Right here at the end, when we bring this up here, and there she's scratching, and this is where I want to bring up the volume. I'm going to bring up the volume right here. I'm going to put it up to close to 0, about there. So that way it does this. And then around here, I'm going to fade it back on down. I'll do a fade. I hit C for the cut tool, the razor blade, and I'm just going to chop it. I'm going to hit V to get my move tool, my selection tool back. So I select this and I hit delete. All right, so let's zoom out so we can see absolutely everything. And there it is. Okay. Not bad. All right, and there it is. So have a look at it and see what you think. And if you like it and everything, then show me and I'll mark it. Thanks very much. Good job, guys.